Lawmakers are back to work, and as expected, the state's pension system is taking center stage at this year's General Assembly. Plus, a former Jackson County official pleads guilty to embezzlement charges. And the top lawmaker in Alabama makes a ruling in the Thanksgiving shooting case at a Birmingham area mall.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 5:31 on Wednesday, February 6th. I'm Will Puckett. It's going to be a soggy one. You're not going to need a heavy jacket, though. You're just going to need a light rain jacket, an umbrella, and some rain boots on this Wednesday. Let's toss it over to Brandon on this severe weather alert day. Brandon, we've teased it all week. The temperatures are going to be really nice today and tomorrow, but it's a lot of rain coming our way, and people need to maybe start preparing for the possibility of some flooding.
Right, exactly. And that flood watch was extended to cover the entire area overnight here, eastern southern Kentucky and our counties in southern West Virginia. Even though our neighbors in Tennessee and Virginia are left out, doesn't mean they can't get some heavy rain. Let's take a look at the camera network this morning. We start at US 119, US 23 there at Jenkins over in Letcher County this morning, fairly quiet. Whitesburg also quiet this morning as you head out the door, but it won't last for too long. You can see on the satellite and radar, rain already starting to drift in from the south and the west. That's the trend on live pinpoint Doppler radar as well. Some heavier bands of rain out toward Lake Cumberland coming in from East Tennessee and up toward the I-64 corridor. Temperatures in the 40s, 50s, and 60s this morning. Only a couple 40s, so let's go 50s and 60s as you head out the door. Afternoon forecast, chances for showers and storms. We get up to 70, though, with that warm air cranking in from the southwest. I'll tell you more about the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
70, you'd start thinking it was maybe early May, not mid-February. Thank you, Brandon. Well, Kentucky lawmakers face a difficult road ahead to fix the state's troubled pension system. They went back to Frankfort on Tuesday for the second half of the 2019 General Assembly. They were handed a report from Auditor Mike Harmon breaking down the pension crisis on Kentucky's finances. Hillary Thornton looks at the debt that has been built up by the Kentucky's pension backlog.
The Commonwealth of Kentucky is sitting in $54.6 billion of debt. An estimated $43.3 billion of that is due to the unfunded liability of its retirement systems. The report put out by Auditor Mike Harmon showing that pensions make up nearly 80% of the state's debt. The total hole Kentucky is in, dividing out to every man, woman, and child in the state, owing roughly $12,000.
Kind of shows what sort of difficult situation that we're in.
The unfunded pensions categorized as debt because the state contractually and Harmon says also morally is obligated to pay retirees what they've earned.
There wasn't one reason that we got here, and unfortunately there's not going to be one silver bullet that will help resolve it.
There has been a lot of talk here at the Capitol about just how urgent addressing the pension system is. Based on these numbers, Auditor Harmon says something must be done soon.
First thing you got to do is stop the bleeding. And, we have to address the current situation, and then we're going to be digging out for at least 30 years, if not more.
Lawmakers back in Frankfort for the second part of this year's 30-day session. Leadership is hesitant to say if they will be able to get anything done this session. Harmon suggests pension reform be broken into at least 3 separate bills.
Hillary Thornton, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Harmon says in one bill he would put new hires into the revised cash hybrid plan, what he says they are calling Tier 4 employees. In the second bill, he suggests transferring people originally in the cash hybrid into the Tier 4, and then anything else that needs addressed would go into the third bill. Meanwhile, lawmakers plan to vote on a bill today that would expand the state's organ donor registry. Senate Bill 77 would create a single database for registered donors. If passed, it would take effect at the start of 2020. Senator Julie Rocky Adams sponsored the bill and worked with the Kentucky organ donor affiliates. They say an average of 10,000 people add their name to the registry, but the state's new licenses could cause that number to drop. Meanwhile, a former Jackson County treasurer pleaded guilty to identity theft and wire fraud on Tuesday. Beth Sally told officials that beginning in about 2013, she used her position to write checks to herself without the approval of the fiscal court. She defrauded the county by writing close to $162,000 in checks. She forged signatures and removed pages of financial documents to hide her activity.
The thing that bothered me most about this situation was the obligations that was left undone. We found out that retirement wasn't being paid in on our employees. We're glad that it's coming down to an end, and we can finally try to get Jackson County back on its feet.
Now, both the FBI and Kentucky State Police were part of the investigation. Salih will be sentenced on June 18th. Well, an alert from police here in Perry County. Check your money. The Hazard Police Department shared on their Facebook page that a handful of restaurants are reporting fake $100 and $50 bills. I caught up with a manager and waiter who says fake bills can be devastating to food service workers. To those who pass them, it might not seem like a big deal.
If you get a fake bill, you have to pay it out of your own pocket.
But for people like Sam and Sarah, it is.
Like, let's say you get a $50 fake bill, you have to now give them $50. And if you haven't made $50 in tips that day, you're paying them out of your own money.
And Sarah is a manager and waiter at Big Blue Smokehouse and has experience before with people passing fake bills.
In my retail jobs and when I worked at other restaurants, I have.
And Sarah says in some cases it seems like people are being nice, only to learn later that was not the case.
People would always say, keep the change, and give you a fake 100, fake 50, say keep the change, and you would think you have a really nice tip, but then later on that night you find out the whole entire thing was fake, so you got to pay everything back.
He also says people most likely don't realize what that means to a person's livelihood.
It's just a problem that needs to stop.
And not to mention, it's illegal too. Now, anyone with information on who is making or using the bills is asked to call the Hazard Police Department. You can remain anonymous. Meanwhile, Alabama's Attorney General will not charge the officer who shot and killed an innocent man at a shopping mall last Thanksgiving. Hoover police shot E.J. Bradford in the back 3 times as he ran from the scene of a shooting in the River Chase Galleria. Police initially thought Bradford was responsible for a shooting that injured 2 people moments earlier because he was carrying a gun as he ran through the mall. Well, the man authorities say opened fire at a Nashville Waffle House is now facing murder charges. A Tennessee grand jury indicted Travis Reinking Friday on 17 charges, including 4 counts of murder. The incident happened April 22nd of last year. Police say Reinking was nearly naked outside the restaurant where he fired an assault-style rifle while wearing only a jacket and then stormed in. A diner inside the restaurant wrestled the gun away from him. 4 people were killed during the shooting. Well, the FBI is now part of the search for a man accused of killing another man at a Knox County gas station. An FBI most wanted bulletin is now up for Philip Lewis, who they say killed Gary Medlin back in January. That was video just before the shooting at a store. Investigators believe Lewis might be hiding in Flint, Michigan. He also has ties to Mississippi. Lewis is considered dangerous. Well, a man who pleaded guilty to killing a Wayne County man learned how long he will spend in prison. A judge sentenced Dillon Mason to 10 years in prison yesterday. Mason received 10 years for manslaughter and robbery and 5 years for tampering with physical evidence. All of those will run concurrently. Police originally charged Mason with murder in the shooting death of 20-year-old Matthew Young. He pleaded guilty to a lesser charge last month. Well, we are still working to learn more on a deadly crash in Clay County. The Clay County Sheriff says it all happened around 10 yesterday morning on US 421 in Manchester. 1 person died when a minivan and Jeep Wrangler collided. That person's name has not been released. The Clay County Sheriff's Office is investigating. In McCreary County now, where Kentucky State Police continue to investigate a man's disappearance. Police say Jeff Shepard has been missing since March of last year. Troopers say he was seen at his home in Whitley City and then later a bar in northern Tennessee. Officials say he has a gray 1984 F-150. If you have any information, you are asked to call Kentucky State Police Post 11. Well, what should have been a happy celebration for a Madison County mother is being put on hold. The search continues for Savannah Spurlock, who turned 23 years old yesterday. The mother of 4 has not been seen now in more than a month. Police say she went to a home in Garrett County after leaving a bar in downtown Lexington on January 4th. We talked to her mother.
I urge anybody or everybody to hold close and tight to your loved ones because, you know, I never thought I'd be in this position.
Police say they are certain Savannah Spurlock was in Garrett County. They have interviewed the men she was seen with, but no one has been charged. Well, the Bell County Child Support officials are giving patients delinquent on payments an opportunity to avoid jail time. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds talks to administrators about their offer.
227. That is the number of warrants for parents with delinquent payments in Bell County.
Everybody on that list has had chance after chance to pay. You get somebody who may be only $300 behind may have only been ordered to pay $25 a month, so you may be talking a year's worth of neglect.
But if these parents will set up a payment plan with the child support office or pay the amount in full, they can avoid jail time.
We don't want to put people in jail, and we don't want people to have to look over their shoulders every time they see a policeman or not go to work because they're afraid they'll be arrested.
Bell County Attorney Neil Ward says ultimately the goal is to help kids and their guardians get the support they need and deserve.
Even though they may be years behind in their child support, they can start now, and they'll actually be helping their children.
Parents have until April 1st to contact the child support office to have their warrant removed. In Bell County, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, officials say there will be more names added to the warrants list for others who have been delinquent. Well, 5:42 coming up on Mountain News this morning. We take you to Hollywood for the latest headlines in your Eye and Entertainment Report.
Heavy rain later today could lead to some localized flooding issues, especially in the next 48 hours. I'll track it out for you in a few minutes.